You produce so much slime that predators would literally rather starve than eat you. We're not talking a little bit of slime. We're talking gallons, enough to clog gills, suffocate predators, and turn the entire ocean around you into snot. You're basically a living slime grenade. And you're blind, and you have no jaw. Welcome to life as a hagfish, the ocean's most disgusting janitor. Okay, so imagine being so disgusting that your only defense mechanism is making predators gag, not scaring them, not fighting them. Just being so gross that they physically can't handle eating you. That's the hagfish. You're not fast. You're not strong. You're not even smart. But you are covered in slime-producing glands that can create enough mucus in seconds to fill a bucket. And somehow, that's been enough to keep your species alive for 300 million years. Let me explain why being the ocean's snot monster is both brilliant and absolutely horrifying. All right, let's start with what you are. Because calling you a fish is generous. You're not technically a fish. You're a jawless, spineless, nearly brainless tube of mucus-producing nightmare flesh. You don't have bones. You have a notochord, basically a flexible rod that's like a spine's embarrassing cousin. You don't have a jaw. You have a mouth that looks like a circular nightmare with teeth-like structures inside. It's basically a fleshy tunnel lined with hooks. You don't have proper eyes. You have light-sensitive patches under your skin. You're functionally blind, and you don't have scales. You have smooth, slimy skin covered in pores, up to 100 slime glands running along your body. So let's be clear, you're a blind, jawless, boneless tube that navigates the ocean floor by touch and smell. You look like someone tried to design an eel but gave up halfway through. But here's the thing, you've been around for 300 million years. You survived the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs. You outlived countless other species. Why? Because you're so disgusting that nothing wants to eat you long enough to wipe you out. Now let's talk about your superpower, your only real defense, slime. When a predator attacks you, you produce slime. But this isn't normal slime. This is industrial-grade weaponized mucus. Your slime glands release proteins and mucins that mix with seawater. Within milliseconds, those proteins expand into a thick, fibrous, choking gel. We're talking instant slime explosion. One hagfish can produce enough slime to turn 5 gallons of water into thick mucus in seconds. 5 gallons. Imagine you're a shark. You bite down on what you think is an easy meal, and suddenly your mouth, your gills, your entire head is filled with thick, suffocating snot. You can't breathe. You can't see. You can't swallow. You have to let go. And that's if you're lucky. Some predators actually suffocate because the slime clogs their gills so completely they can't get oxygen. Scientists have found sharks and large fish dead with hagfish, slime still in their mouths and gills. You don't fight predators. You don't outswim them. You disgust them into submission. But here's the problem. You produce so much slime that you can actually trap yourself in it. Yeah, your own defense mechanism can kill you. If you produce too much slime too quickly, you can get caught in your own mucus cloud and suffocate. So what do? You tie yourself in a knot. I'm not joking. You literally tie your body into a knot to survive. When you're covered in your own slime, or when you need to remove slime from your body, you tie yourself into an overhand knot and slide it down your body. It's like using your own body as a squeegee. You loop your tail around, thread your head through, pull tight, and scrape the slime off by sliding the knot from head to tail. It's one of the weirdest survival behaviors in nature, but it gets weirder. You also use this knot tying trick to feed. Remember how you don't have a jaw? That's a problem when you're trying to eat. So here's what you do. You find a dead or dying animal on the ocean floor, a whale carcass, a dead fish, whatever. You burrow into the carcass, like fully inside it. Then you bite down with your toothed mouth and tie yourself in a knot for leverage. You use your own body as a pulley system to rip chunks of flesh off. It's horrifying. It's disgusting. And it works. You're basically a living horror movie that eats by tying itself in. Knots inside rotting corpses. But hey, at least you're efficient. Now let's talk about how you experience the world. Because it's not pleasant. You're functionally blind. You have primitive light-detecting cells, but you can't see shapes, colors, or movement. You navigate the deep ocean, often thousands of feet down where there's no light, completely blind. So how do you find food? Smell. You have an incredibly sensitive sense of smell. You can detect the chemical signature of dead or dying animals from miles away. You follow the scent trail across the ocean floor, dragging your body through mud and sand until you find your meal. But here's the problem. You can't tell the difference between a fresh kill and something that died weeks ago. You don't care. Dead is dead. So you're eating rotting, decomposing flesh regularly. You're the ocean's cleanup crew. You're also incredibly slow. You don't hunt live prey because you can't. You're too slow, too blind, and too poorly equipped. You're a scavenger, a bottom feeder in the most literal sense. And because you're on the ocean floor in complete darkness, you're constantly bumping into things. Rocks, other hagfish, predators. You have no idea what's around you until you physically touch it. Imagine living your entire life in a pitch-black room, crawling on your belly, only knowing something's there when you bump into it. That's your existence. When you do find food, like a dead whale on the ocean floor, things get really weird. You're not alone. There are other hagfish, dozens, sometimes hundreds. You all converge on the carcass like a writhing mass of slime tubes, and you don't eat politely. You burrow inside. You tunnel through rotting flesh. You tie yourselves in knots to get leverage. The whole feeding scene becomes a nightmare ball of hagfish, all sliming each other, all knotting and unknotting, all tearing at flesh from the inside. From the outside, it looks like the carcass is alive with movement. It's one of the most disturbing feeding behaviors in the ocean. And the slime? It's everywhere. The water around a hagfish feeding frenzy becomes so thick with mucus that it's basically a slime cloud. Other scavengers can't even approach because the water is too disgusting. You've effectively created a slime barrier around your food. But remember, too much slime and you suffocate yourself. So you're constantly having to tie yourself in knots, scrape off slime, and keep feeding without drowning in your own defense mechanism. It's exhausting. It's disgusting. And it's the only way you survive. Here's something wild. Scientists barely know how you reproduce. You're hermaphroditic, meaning you have both male and female reproductive organs. But no one's ever actually witnessed hagfish mating in the wild. We found eggs. We know you lay them, but we don't know where, when, or how the actual reproduction happens. You could be doing it on the ocean floor. You could be doing it in deep crevices. You could be doing it while knotted together for all we know. It's a complete mystery. And honestly, given how disgusting everything else about you is, maybe it's better we don't know. What we do know is that your eggs are large, tough-shelled, and covered in hooks that anchor them to the seafloor. You don't guard them. You don't care for them. You lay them and leave. Classic bottom feeder parenting. Now let's talk about humans, because of course we're a problem. In some parts of the world, particularly Korea, hagfish are considered a delicacy. People eat you, on purpose. They call you slime eel and serve you grilled or in soups. So now you're not just dealing with natural predators. You're being commercially fished. Fishermen catch you in traps, thousands at a time. And here's the thing. When you're stressed, like when you're trapped in a net with thousands of other hagfish, you all produce slime. So much slime that fishing boats have accidentally filled their holds with hagfish mucus, ruining entire catches. There are documented cases of fishing boats capsizing because the hagfish slimed so much that the weight distribution shifted. You're so disgusting you can sink boats, but humans still fish. You because your skin, once the slime is removed, makes decent leather. Eel skin wallets and belts? Often hagfish. So you survive for 300 million years by being too gross to eat. And then humans show up and decide to make you into accessories. Here's the final twist. You might be one of the longest living animals in the ocean. Scientists think some hagfish species can live up to 40 years or more. 40 years of crawling blind through the darkness, eating corpses, producing slime, and tying yourself in knots. 4 decades of being the ocean's most disgusting janitor. You don't age gracefully. You don't retire. You just keep crawling, keep eating, keep sliming, until eventually you die, probably while knotted inside a whale carcass. And then you become the meal for other scavengers. The circle of disgusting life continues. So let's recap what it's like being a hagfish. You're a jawless, boneless, nearly brainless tube. You're functionally blind, navigate by smell and touch. You produce gallons of choking slime as defense. Your own slime can suffocate you. You tie yourself in knots to survive. You burrow inside corpses and eat from the inside. You use knots for leverage while feeding. You're so disgusting predators would rather starve. You live in complete darkness on the ocean floor. Scientists don't even know how you reproduce. Humans fish you to make wallets. You live up to 40 years like this. Hagfish are proof that you don't need to be fast, strong, or smart to survive. You just need to be so absolutely revolting that nothing wants to deal with you. You're not at the top of the food chain, You're not even in the food chain. You're the janitor cleaning up what's left. If you enjoyed learning about the ocean's most disgusting survival strategy, smash that like button and subscribe for more Why It Sucks to Be Ein videos. Coming up next, Why It Sucks to Be a Naked Mole Rat. Spoiler, you're hideous. You live in a dictatorship, you eat poop, and only one female gets to breed while everyone else is a sterile worker slave forever. Drop a comment. Would you rather produce gallons of slime or spend 17 years underground as a cicada? Both options are body horror. Thanks for watching. And remember, at least you're not a tube of slime that ties itself in knots.